Hey, everybody, welcome to the Hurdy Burke Internet Broadcast Network, right from the state of the art studios in Round Rock, Texas. Bill, I always get everybody laughing when they say state of the art because they're just gorgeous, aren't they?
It's a great studio.
And we want to welcome you guys to the live show. Bill with, yep, No Time for Social is going to be on talking to us tonight. And I love the name of this company. I can't wait to ask him some questions. And we're going to be on as long as we want. We'll either be on 45 minutes, an hour, it doesn't matter. We're going to get into some of the what he's doing with No Time for Social tonight. We're going to let him introduce himself here in a minute. But before we do that, for you guys listening for the very, very first time, we're glad to have you. And the next thing I wanted to tell you is this is a show that covers local Austin business. And it's because of my sponsors, I can bring that business in here to the studio, sit down, do a live show with that business guest. And so we're covering Austin business, and they get their own infomercial or what we call archive show that they can do anything with they want. I host it for them and everything else, and it's really cool because it gives them a chance to expose their business, look like they're on the cutting edge, so they have their own cute radio show, right?
Great,
So,
yeah.
and this is what we're doing. But I also had one of my sponsors approach me last week and said, "Hey, you know, what would we need to do to make sure that we're the sponsor exclusively? Because I have 11,
hmm
and we want to be the exclusive sponsor for the next year every Tuesday night." So we sat down, got
Amazing.
a pen and pencil out, worked it out. And I want to thank CPR Cell Phone Repair in Round Rock, Texas. They're over at La Frontera, and they do it all. If you have tablet problems, cracked screens, buttons on your iPhone don't work, camera lenses are broke, you dropped the thing in the commode, you dropped it off the top of your car, they fix them. And the beautiful thing is they're 5-star rated on Yelp, Google
That's great.
Plus. They take care of their clients. They are open Monday through Saturday from 10 till 7 every day, and they even open for a couple hours on Sunday. But CPR Cell Phone Repair Round Rock, located at La Frontera, is our sponsor, and their website is CPR, or excuse me, I always get this wrong, Bill, because you know that's their tag, right?
Right.
It's cellphonerepair.com. And because they're a national franchise lane, you're going to be directed to a main page where you just put your zip code in. And if you're in Round Rock, you'll get directed right to them.
That's great.
So go check out
I've been a victim of
cellphonerepair.com.
the iPad cracking. It's
Yeah. And you know
not
what?
fun.
They call themselves surgeons.
Right.
And we've done a couple flip off videos about that. And the
Sure.
cool
It
thing is
looks
that I
surgical.
have seen them. I don't know how the guy's eyes
Right.
work so well. We're talking about sometimes you have to pull a microscope over to get certain screws out, and they
Unbelievable.
are delicate. They take these things completely apart, put them
Right.
back together, they work like a charm. It's
That's good.
amazing. And for the
Yeah.
price,
Yeah.
it's even better,
Better than buying a new
especially if it's
iPad.
one of your high-end iPhone 6s or Samsung
Sure.
Notes or you
Sure.
know, and they do a good job.
That's
So
great.
they're all over Facebook. They're all over G Plus. They got their Google My Business page. But they're appreciate you guys being the sponsor, and it's CPR Cell Phone right here in Round Rock, Texas, and La Frontera. So let's give them a hand.
Very
Thank you,
good.
guys. All right, Bill. Bill is with No Time Social. Welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate you
How
having me in,
cool and
Hurdy.
fun is this?
It is good times.
I mean, I know that me and you hooked up about what 5 months ago when you decided you wanted to start some videos. But
Yep.
what amazed me when I kept going over with the fact was I found the company that actually named themselves No Time Social. And so before we get into questions, just tell me how the heck you got that great name.
I don't remember when I registered the domain name, but it was most likely one of those 2 a.m. in the morning, wake up, and it was
Light bulb.
no time for social. So many businesses don't have time for social. Go register the domain name. I sat on it for probably 8 months.
And didn't do anything with
didn't
it.
do anything with it.
Right.
And there came a point in time where I was transitioning from another LLC I have that I was managing social media under.
Sure.
Decided that I wanted to really brand it, just become a company that just focuses on social media. Went into my list of 30 domain names that I've registered, and
Yep.
that one was out there, and decided that that was the name, and immediately went into branding it right away, and
Oh yeah.
just went and ran with it, and the name is really stuck, and I
it
always
really
get a
has.
lot of
It's so easy to
compliments.
remember. I mean, even the initials part of it are easy to remember. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But your website's real simple. NoTimeForSocial.com.
Yeah.
I mean, how easy
It
is
is.
that?
Yep.
No space. Just type it in and go check it out. And I guess, and we're going to get into questions. Your background. You came from. Now, first of all, have you been in Austin a long time, or?
It'll be 20 years in July.
Okay, so you've been here 20 years too. You've been
Yep.
here quite a long stay too.
Quite a while.
And where are you originally from?
I grew up on Long Island, New York.
What a cool
town called
place!
Hapa.
They got pounded this
They
last
have.
month, haven't they?
I
Oh
still have
my
a lot of friends back there, and they're
man,
not happy.
no, especially if they're on that outer edge out there.
Mhm.
Did you see some of the freaking waves from the nor'easter? It was coming in. They were freezing as soon as they hit those. They were taller than those 3-story beach houses out there. I don't think people realize how bad a nor'easter is. Can be when it comes. Sandy was one, but I mean, when it comes through there, they can be bad even if they're not bad, right? Yep. So
as a kid, I got to experience the blizzard of '78.
Oh wow, that big one.
That was a big one. I was 9 at the time, and we had no power for 2 weeks. I mean, back then,
and you have big fireplaces and, and lots of gas furnaces and gas and
kerosene heaters,
and try not to burn down the house.
It was fun. So I got to experience that, and you know, left New York in '91.
Right.
And surprisingly enough, I actually was a weather forecaster in the Air Force, so I'm very familiar with.
And you got all this down, right?
It's been a fun ride. So
well, do you miss it? I mean, I know you miss New York, but how you like how's Texas? You're not missing the winter right now, should we say that?
No, I'm not missing the winter. I do miss snow. I'd like.
You miss baseball.
I miss baseball. Miss the Mets.
Right.
Miss my Mets. But yeah, the weather here I enjoy, and you know, my other passion is severe weather. So we get our fix here. So I bring my.
I would tell you a story about a tornado that leveled the house I was in Dallas in 1994, but we'll skip that, and I'll tell you about that after the show. How's that? All right, so let's direct them back to that website,
sure.
NoTimeForSocial.com, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
And I think you retooled that a little bit. Is that true? Are you still in? Are you still rebuilding a new one?
We're actually rebuilding it now. We should have it launched within the next 30 to 45 days, I believe.
Cool.
But, we've got all of our services out on the page, and pretty clear, cut and clear what we do. I mean, we're managing social media for small to mid-sized businesses.
And I love it, man. Me and you are in the same arena. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit different in niches, and hopefully we're going to figure out a way to marry. I know we will. Yeah. We're going to figure out how to marry this. You've just gone through a big move from the domain up to Round Rock, so you're now Round Rock Center. Did you hear the news about Round Rock today?
That we're number one. Yep, number one
in the country.
In the country.
And I go in there lying. I'm just kidding.
Hey, I love living here.
Well, you're a member of the chamber.
Yep.
And good chamber, large chamber. All right, so I'm going to fire away at you some questions tonight because some of the people that may or may not be on this, and by the way, the archive always gets all our listeners because Bill's going to share it out and everything. But so we're doing this live, but it's really for the archive that we're doing this. So we have an ongoing message, and he's given me, our crack producers have brought in some outstanding questions tonight that we want to ask you. And the first one is, and you're right. And I never really thought about this question to the way you wrote it. And that is that social media seems to be taking over everything.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking back to the .com bust in 2001 when we were just hearing the tricklings of MySpace or something called MySpace.
Yep.
So why is it taking over everything? Well, it just is.
It just is. It's kind of an evolution that is happening right in front of us. You're not going to stop it.
We're history makers.
We are. And you know, you look at a network like Facebook, which is what I would call, you know, a second or third evolution. You had MySpace, you had the Friendster network, which really no one kind of probably even knows about
that. And you had dating sites, which were about the only thing social we knew of on the internet that were creeping up in the late 90s, right?
Yes. And then this Facebook thing hit, and I've been on it. Oh boy, I've been on it since probably 2007 with my prior business, and in 2008 was running a lot of Facebook advertising. The advertising piece of it has been around for a while.
They
so.
just haven't really fine-tuned it till you're
Correct.
seeing it now, really,
Yeah.
because they've got a lot of demographics to push it out to, right?
They do.
And I understand that. Yeah, I was thinking back myself. I think when MySpace started taking the nosedive after
Mhm.
Tom sold it, to
Mhm.
CBS, right?
Yeah.
And it started falling apart because for some reason it quit working really well. It just had problems.
It just yeah.
Somebody made a bad mistake. That could have been a really powerful social network.
Yeah.
But it's music oriented now. But I think for me, it's 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
Somebody said you need to go check out that Facebook because they're
Yep.
kind of opening it up now away from the college kids.
Right.
And
Right.
and that
Yep.
was a big
As soon
deal.
as I was able to get an account, I hopped on and
Me too.
grabbed one.
And it was kind of cool to watch high school buddies come back in and all that stuff. So
I've connected with probably 250 people I went to high school with that, and I would have probably been able to see because I'm here and they're there.
And it's great.
Or they're all over the country.
And there's people I found that I would have never found if it hadn't been for a Facebook type of social media. So
Absolutely.
now there's tons of these coming up, and I guess what do we compare this to? Say from 10 years ago. What there's a lot of differences because social networks changed the dynamic of sales. It's changed how we collaborate.
It has.
Right.
For businesses, the challenge I think that we're seeing now is social is much different than just having a website.
Yep.
You can put a website up. You've got your information out there about what you do.
Yep.
If you sell a widget, you can set up an online cart to sell your widgets. People put it in the cart. They check out. Everything's great. Social, on the other hand, requires work. It's living. It's breathing. It requires activity in order to keep it moving. And
once you start it, you need to be continuing that, and that's probably my biggest presentation with folks is you've got to continue this activity because people are looking for your service.
Yep.
They may not know the name of your company,
sure,
but they're out there already looking for what you have to offer.
Sure.
And you've got to be present and accounted for, right?
And if you're not, your competition might be.
Yeah. And I was thinking also, Bill, some of the differences, and you see this because you're working with companies now that are trying to migrate over still from type of a more of that traditional model, right? They've gotten so used to that they just can't let go of.
Yeah.
Right. And trying to transition them over into the social media side of it. Correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. The
newsprint, TV, all that, right?
Postcards, billboards,
direct mail.
Direct mail. There is a huge opportunity, I think, with not only curating your own presence on social, but also beginning to use advertising on social. And we've seen some really, really good success with some of our clients that, utilize the technology correctly and were able to connect with people that never knew about their organization before.
Absolutely.
So Google AdWords has obviously dominated the space for a long time. But if you look at some of the statistics, AdWords is beginning to level out, and I think Facebook is beginning to pick up momentum with the amount of ad spending that's happening.
I agree with you. And I think there's like two different opportunities there. I say Google's like a big, huge search engine where you're going to type in looking for how to repair a battery yourself or something, or a battery repair shop. Whereas Facebook, you can target really concisely a group of people or demographic within that social network. So I see kind of this mixing and matching of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? If they really want to be effective with their ad campaigns. But man, but I think me and you agree on this. And don't you think from your experience working with all these companies you're helping right now, Rusty, I'm going to pull you up a little bit and let him get by you. That's okay. We got our mascot in the shop tonight. Okay, go, bud. So I'm thinking that, and I almost lost my train of thought, but here we go. I'll think of it in a second.
Of the two.
Well, I was just thinking that all these social networks have figured out they've got to monetize because a lot of them are gone public, right? Twitter, Facebook, and they have board of directors, so they now have to make a profit. So it was fun and games, for a while.
Sure.
But now they've changed all their algorithms, or they keep adjusting them. They do them every day, but their main ones, so that they're forcing the businesses to kind of play into that pay game.
That's correct.
And we're going to see more of that. And I keep trying to alert my customers like you do. Look, you guys need to be thinking about paid search because the days of SEO, like you know of it or heard of it, are gone.
Right. Yeah.
It's engagement, activity, collaboration, and relevant content, correct?
The organic side of things, I think, is taking a nosedive for businesses. But that's not a bad thing. You know, I mean, we look at traditional advertising now, and you know, look back 20 years, and Yellow Pages wasn't going to have you put a full page ad in for free.
No,
You're not going to put a billboard up on the interstate for free.
Right.
You're not going to put an ad in the newspaper for free. So while people will look at it one way and say, well, I don't understand why I would need to pay for that because Facebook is a free network. It's not a free network. They have to monetize. There has to be a way, and they're not going to charge their users ever. There's no way.
No, they're going to keep their base, but they're going to force, like I said, and everybody thinks, well, you know, organic. I lived on organic. Well, that's fine, but so did the black hatters, and so did the people that were illegally backlinking and running ghost blogs and getting bogus results for the search engines, meaning you were never finding what you really needed to find. And so Google and all these guys have said, look, we want people to search on our search engine and find what they're looking for. So we're going to make you pay to play. And if you do rank organically, you better know what the heck you're doing. And that means finding webmaster tools, like that. Make sure you verify pages. Make sure you set up your business pages, and then you'll get some attention. But you have to have a mix. So, all right. So that was a long answer to that question. And this is a good question too, Bill, that I like, and that you brought in is, why would a company want to start social media for their business? What's the point? Because I hear that all the time. I don't need that.
I think the key is look at how big the networks are and look at how many people are on them. Sure, your neighbor may be like, I've never been on Facebook, I'm never going to be on Facebook. But 100 other people that are in your neighborhood are probably on Facebook.
And your business.
They're probably, you know, looking at your business. They may need your particular service. And let's take the cell phone, for example, as an example. You know, they've got a website. They're pushing out, you know, probably some Google AdWords or, you know, some Google
Facebook
searches,
or Twitter or whatever.
Facebook or Twitter. And holistically, you've got to be capturing people's attention on multiple feeds. Otherwise, the potential exists that you are losing out on customers. You don't know what you don't know. So unless you go in and you actually begin to make an effort on Facebook, and you begin to kind of push out some ads, you don't know what's going to happen.
And my answer to that is, what you don't know may hurt you too.
Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
And if you don't feel it, you don't see it, and you can't touch it, then you don't know it's affecting you. But I tell people, like you do all the time, is that your people on these cell phones today that are doing quick searches are searching, and what they see when that pops up is what they're going to hit. And if you're not there, you don't have a single chance. You know, and that, I guess that's the difference in what social's doing today, right? And how does it help their business?
Well, I think it's a couple things, and it really depends on the business, but overall it helps their business because customers that see their content, the image is going to be branded in their brain as to the company that they're interacting with on social.
Sure.
So if it's a restaurant, for example, and that restaurant is sending out great images of all the dishes that they're always producing, and you decide that on Facebook you're going to do a little drop down on the page like area and click get notifications, which is a way, if you are interested in learning more about Facebook, get notifications is a way to get information about a business anytime they post. So that would be a suggestion if you want to follow a particular business. But let's say it's a great restaurant that you want to follow, and I follow Uchiko in Austin. I'm a big Uchiko fan. So I follow all their posts, and when they push out content, I'm like, wow, that's a great dessert. What does it do? It
drives you
in my head
and think, I need to get down there.
I need to go eat some Uchiko.
Right. And I think that's something really big too, is people do bookmark and save and set up that they want to be in touch with that particular client. We may not know that, but they're getting the notification. They can join your free list or newsletter. Something's going to get in their, they want to follow you.
Yeah.
So it behooves you, right? To
Absolutely.
be pushing stuff out to
Yep.
them so that they don't get bored and go somewhere else.
And that kind of goes back to our conversation about the website. Is the website's great for
Right.
you to talk about your company and what you have to offer, but the social networks are places that you talk about everyday things going on with your
Sure.
company and get people engaged and get them excited about wanting to be a part of your organization on whatever level it is, whether it's a restaurant or cell phone repair or whatever your offering is.
Sure.
And you're going to be able to touch on a lot more people. And if you can get content that's great, that's shareable, that's where things really get interesting, because you could do some paid advertising, but all of those shares off of those paid advertisements, you're not paying for.
That's right.
So if you
And
can
it's,
get 1,000 shares
that's
on
right.
a post, that's amazing.
And I think what people don't realize, I hear this all the time when I'm doing AdWords campaigns, is,
Mhm.
well, I didn't get that many clicks, and I said, well, but you got quality clicks, and I said the people who clicked your website were querying exactly what they were looking for, and that's why they clicked through, right? If you want to go further and understand the conversion process, we can do that. But
Sure.
the free advertising is, they may have just clicked on your ad, wrote down your phone number
Mhm.
to call you because they might have
Yep.
been in the car, and that's
Yep.
free advertising, because if they don't click it, they may just call you on the number you have listed. So
Yep.
that's what you're talking about.
Yep.
And people sharing it out on
Absolutely.
Facebook, that's awesome,
Yeah.
because 10 friends could share it to 1,000
Mhm.
people saying, I like this ad. That doesn't cost that client anything,
Right.
which
Agreed.
is what was good for you.
Yep.
The website thing. So, and I'll tell you what, let's take a 2-minute break,
Okay.
and we're going to get some more claps, because I got to mention CPR. It goes fast, by the way, just so you know that from being on your weather thing.
Oh,
But
yeah.
our exclusive sponsorship for this year is CPR Cell Phone Repair in Round Rock. They're in La Frontier, and if you want to know what part of La Frontier they're in, just think Hooters or Jimmy John's. They're right almost next door, right over there, and they have an awesome shop. They do unbelievable repairs on phones. They also have lots of cool accessories like tempered glass casings, that are strong, where you can hit them with the hammer and they don't break. Don't hit the hammer to it to prove it with the phone on it. But they fix tablets. They fix every kind of cell phone there is. But what they like to do is, if it's a proprietary phone like an HTC model or Motorola, bring it in, let them look at it, and let them give you a quote right there on the spot. And then generally what they do is try to have that phone back in your hands within 2 to 3 hours.
Wow.
Unless there's a certain special part that you have to order that they can't do anything about. They usually have them ready that day or within 4 hours.
Yeah.
That's turnaround service. So we want to thank CPR Cell Phone Repair for being our exclusive sponsor. You can find them at cellphonerepair.com, cellphonerepair.com. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you, and thanks for taking on the sponsorship this year. And we are back. I know, I love that. We could do the doorbell. If you get too boring, I'll do the cricket. But it's no big deal. All right, so we're talking about social networking, right? Don't fall asleep on us out there. But we were talking about the website, and a website to me is not as social as our social network. So I think the buzzword has always been static, right? It's been kind of a standalone place. But we're getting more tools, right, Bill, that we can incorporate. Like we could add video, we can add badges from Google or from Facebook on and link them back to, so that they become interactive, right? And that's a big part of what you do.
They do have now the Facebook logins. They do have a lot of different sharing features within websites, and you see that a lot on news sites. You see it a lot beginning to get incorporated in. So I think we're seeing a transition into like Twitter feeds, Facebook feeds, the ability to log into a website with your Facebook credentials. A lot of that is beginning to happen. So what we'll see 5-10 years from now.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I'm banging. It's hard. I read a book called Tipping Point. That inside the tornado. You probably know about those back in the 2000s, right before the dot-com bust. And one of the things they talked about was this word called creative destruction.
Okay.
And that was, your business 5 years from now will probably not be the same thing it was 5 years ago. If anything, it'll revamp and it'll be a different. You've got to be thinking ahead of your results for your business. Well, so the people that are in business marketing and sales, right? I separate the two, by the way. But and so this idea that they have to stay ahead of the chain, it's nice that they have consultants like you come in and say, hey, I work in this arena. I can give you a couple months out or a year out what I think is going to happen. Let's get prepared for this. Whereas the business doesn't get caught literally with their pants down, right?
Yep.
And so, all right. So here's a question for you. If a company decides to become social for their business, what are the things that you recommend they do to become successful? And this is right up your alley for your business too.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the biggest thing, in my opinion, is do not set it and forget it. I've actually looked at many businesses, some of them billion-dollar companies, that have not posted to their Facebook page in 3-4 months. And it just perplexes me that, if you do it, you got to go all in. You got to.
That's what we said at the beginning. You've got to get going.
You got to say, okay, we're going to put a plan in place. We're going to put a calendar in place as to when we're posting, what we're posting, how we're going to go about putting advertising dollars towards it. And I would suggest putting a portion of advertising dollars out there for Facebook advertising on your posts. You really got to commit to doing it. And I think it's important that you schedule posts. You've got things set up. You've got an idea of how you're going to interact with your customers.
Yep.
You've got an idea of who your customer is, because you can attract, if we use Facebook as an example, and that's the 20,000-pound gorilla, you can attract more people to your page utilizing Facebook advertising.
Right.
You can use demographics. There's a whole level of Facebook advertising that 99% of the people don't know about. In fact, I bet you 75% of the people that are managing social media are probably not using the Facebook Power Editor and utilizing something called dark posts, where you can actually post information out to Facebook, not post it to your page, and have it run in people's feeds that don't like your page.
There you go.
It's super complex.
But that's what you do.
But that's what we do.
And by the way, this is Bill, and the website is notimeforsocial.com. What a great name. And he's the owner and operator of this fine business. And we've met and we hang out some, and we're doing some stuff, some videos and stuff, but it's been fun, and that is cool. And
yeah,
I bet a lot of people don't know that there's a little pop-up message coming now in your timeline picture to add the contact button and link your website to it and give them an option.
There's a call to action.
Buttons right there now. And I'll bet you half the businesses haven't even seen it, touched it, or just click off and ignore it.
Yep.
Crazy.
Probably not. Yep.
But so you saying to be successful is once they make the commitment to it, is to make sure either they have the right team set up to stay active, engaged, and make sure they're putting out relevant content, right?
Correct.
Or this is where they probably need to pick up the phone and be honest, because let's face it, they got really busy, then they dropped off.
Right.
That's what you're seeing.
Yep.
And then they've decided now, or they need to be told, or somebody needs to go say, hey, you got a gap.
Sure.
And I discovered it. Let me tell you how we can help you with this, right? That's where you come in.
Yeah. And the key to utilizing an outsourced service like No Time for Social is we're coming in at a third to a sixth, depending on where you're at in the country and what the pay rates are, of what a full-time social media manager would cost.
And that's absolutely true.
And you're getting the expertise of the things that we learn day in and day out, because these networks are changing like that. I mean, literally, as we're sitting here on the phone, on this webinar, something's going on with Facebook on their advertising platform that is going to make me sweat when I get back to my office.
or Google throws a new algorithm out there for how they rank search on, and another one's coming soon, right? YouTube's changing, Twitter's getting into video, 6 and 15 second in their own video platform. Everybody's realizing that they need to keep adding these tools. And that's a good point you make, because that is the truth. And I just didn't think about that till now. I'm in it all the time, and you are too.
Yeah.
And we're kind of like the frog with the water being turned up, right? We're used to it, and we're staying on top of it. But for the people just come in, it's like it's freaking overwhelming. It's like, I've seen them.
It's interesting to watch, especially somebody that clicks on this Power Editor link the first time, and it pops up, and they don't know the first thing to do with it, and the challenges involved with that just learning it. You can go through courses and all kinds of stuff, but
Yeah,
unless
but
you're in it and
you
you're
can,
using it and you're staying on top of
you've
all
got
the
to guide
changes,
people through it. That's what
it's
you
tough
do.
for me sometimes.
But I'm saying is, but that's the beauty of having you next to them,
Right.
managing this for them,
Mhm.
is you can take that stress off them, and just
Yeah.
all you need to know
Yep.
is where's your target market,
Right.
and let us start
Right.
hitting that for you, right? And then we'll report to you.
Yeah, and we're at a point in time now where I think companies are just not, they just don't understand yet enough about the power of the social networks to say, hey, we've got a $50,000 a year marketing budget and we're allocating the money here, 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 and here, and here. We need to scale back on these particular areas,
Right.
give social a test, and begin to kind of migrate that way.
Right.
If you don't, there's a couple things that we're seeing happening. One is the older demographic is getting on social. The younger
Absolutely.
demographic is there, so
Right.
they're not paying attention to any of the traditional advertising.
No, then
There's not a
and you
chance
go. I pulled I think 15 kids aside one day in the 25s just for grins. I was in a Starbucks, had nothing better to do. I had an index card in front of me, and I said, "Hey guys," I said, "how many of y'all look at any newspapers, books, or anything?" And they confess, "Well, occasionally we might if it's boring and we're sitting in." But they said, "Our phones."
Yep.
That's all we do. We search on our phones,
Alright.
we talk on our phones, we Snapchat on our phones,
Yep.
we send pictures on our phones, we
Instagram.
share great restaurants with our friends. Nothing
Sure.
is done. We don't go check mailboxes.
Yep. We don't watch
We
any
don't read
commercials on
papers.
TV.
We don't watch TV. We binge
We
flick
don't
on
listen to
Netflix,
radio.
right? Or whatever online station they can find, pirated or legal,
Right.
right? I mean, but I'm just saying this is what these kids are never going to understand that
Yep.
are growing up
Right.
and in business
Yeah.
are not going to be using traditional
They-
sources because they weren't using them and they don't
Yep.
see any need for
Yeah.
them. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean some aren't legit.
Right.
I would say there might be a local paper here,
Sure.
that's hyper local
Right.
that does pretty well,
Yep.
but again, it needs to be targeted.
Yep. And it's a weird dynamic that we're in now. Sometimes I get frustrated just thinking about it because I've got a 5-year-old, and when I was 10 to 13 years old, I was delivering Long Island Newsdays as a paper carrier as a kid.
Right.
So I actually still subscribe to the American Statesman. I get it delivered on the weekends, and I read it in the morning on my iPad. But my kids are not going to do that.
Right. That's just your preference.
Things
right.
are beginning to kind of change, and
they're stuck with an iPad or
Right.
or some sort of pad in their hand as their information tool. So that is what they're growing up with, just like we grew up with a newspaper.
Right.
They're growing up with the iPad. Makes total sense.
Yep.
And so they're going to be social is going to continue to expand. I guess that's my point. I don't see any way around it. And can you name? No, I'm not going to ask you to do that. Do you realize if you go on one of these sites where it shares out social, from one click, do you realize how many social networks there are out there now? I don't even know. Honestly,
amazing.
I don't even mess with half of them. Don't care to, not going there. I kind of stick with the main ones that I know are going to help a business. There's
It's
tons.
gotta be hundreds.
And you never, and we're going to talk about this. What is the, and I like where I'm anxious to this question. What do you think is the best places to advertise in the social media network? Because that's kind of one of your questions.
Yeah. Right now it's got to be Facebook. I mean, it's the network that I'm getting the most, what I would call return on investment for my client
is on the Facebook side.
On Facebook, just because there's so many people on it. Now, I've seen statistics, and I've got nieces, and I asked the question.
E-marketing just put out a big program this week.
How many kids are on Facebook, and it is decreasing. But you've got a whole demographic of people that are 23 plus that are still on the network.
Right.
And we've got, let's say it lasted 10 years.
Right.
You still have 10 years of really, really good marketing opportunities. Let's say it lasts 20 years. I mean, you've got people in their 30s and they're on Facebook now, and let's say they stay on Facebook for another 20 years.
Exactly.
You still have plenty of time. They've done a really good job of getting people connected to into their network.
Oh, absolutely.
And a lot of people are still on it. The younger demographic, not so much,
Right.
but we are looking at those opportunities as well.
Absolutely.
As the next avenue to begin advertising. And that's the great thing about, I think, the opportunity with our company and where we're at now is just beginning to learn to these networks and bringing that value to the clients that we work with as things change and develop
Sure.
at a rapid
Sure.
rapid pace.
Yeah. So we know that these social networks are going to force, and that's my word because that's where they have to go if
Yeah.
they're going to stay in business, and they have to keep creating ideas to keep people engaged. So
Right.
they're always going to be giving fun things on the side to keep the general population, whatever, sharing photos, whatever,
Yep.
cool things, right? But those business pages are going to lose momentum without the advertising, and that's the same thing. It's going to have the same thing that Google's been hinting at for a long time. YouTube, you name it, Twitter. I mean, they're going to give people options to opt in at a price. I guarantee you.
I think so.
And I think that that's just the way it's going. You
Yeah,
know?
it's
Because at some
inevitable.
point they got to make money or they're going to go away.
Right. Yep.
Or they got to keep creating really cool stuff to keep people engaged.
Right.
Right. Mobile phone though toward is what's, to me, I'm seeing a huge amount. I see people. I carry around a notebook because I need the big software for what I do, right? and I get tired of looking at the little screen a lot of times. But my gosh,
mobile is
mobile is that's where these ads can. You don't have to go out and construct a certain size ad.
Right.
It's all done behind the scenes in Facebook. That's the beauty of it, right?
You can.
Cheap.
It is cheap to advertise.
In
on
my opinion,
there.
compared to what you. Let's say this. Let's say you ran a half-page traditional ad in some newspaper that was mailed out to 400,000 people. Show me how you get a return on that. You might have a Q code on there that they bring in that marks that, but where is your return on investment? So, Bill, if I could give you that same $6,000 for that half-page ads and say, would you target market my audience on Facebook, Google, wherever, right, YouTube, I guarantee you that money goes a lot further, bang for the buck. You know,
because your product may not your product will certainly not appeal to the entire audience of the newspaper.
Right, and it could be a brand ad. You know, it could be a direct response, but you still can't figure out unless you get it in your hand where it came from.
Well, and even if it is, you're still having a difficult time targeting females between 30 and 40 years
this
old.
is what I'm saying. You can direct target exactly the demographic you want to go after within your market.
1,000 different ways on Facebook.
I can't wait to sit down with you on this. I'm
the advertising piece is unreal, and it continues to change. I've heard some discussions, and I think it's hard for me to keep up with everything, but there is an article that's come out about them beginning to push Facebook ads out based on real-time posts by individuals. Now, one of the things we talked about before we got on the webinar is targeting with Twitter and how you can utilize keywords with Twitter to reply to tweets. So for the cell phone repair, it'd be, targeting Round Rock, and anybody who tweets that they just dropped their phone and the screen broke, you can immediately reply back with an offer for 10% discount if they bring it in.
And that's exactly
so
the kind of thing that we're looking at with them for that. So that, I mean, it's incredible how they're figuring out how to match up with businesses and how they can charge businesses. And because they're so large, they know they don't have to grab the whole enchilada in one bite of your pocketbook. They can spread that out because they know a lot of people are going to use the platform. And that's the other beauty. They're not limited to going out of business if 10 people don't buy ads.
Right. They are not.
In that newspaper or on that radio, right?
Exactly.
So that's cool.
Exactly.
Good point, man.
It's great, yeah.
All right. So what social media network has the best chance of staying around? And which ones do you think won't make it? And I know this is a huge guess because you just never know.
It is. I mean, the one that, so there's one out there now that I think will not make it, and we go back to a social network being free versus paid, and you probably haven't even heard of this one. It's called Ello.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Okay, so Ello will be that'll be an interesting case study to watch because they plan on charging people based on new modules that they put out. So I don't.
It's a
really
weird
think,
pricing. It's not
think that
following
has
the
a chance.
normal the
It's
normal
not.
trend
They
of
are
things.
trying to buck the trend. We'll see if it hangs around. I think Google Plus will continue to evolve, but more in line from a business standpoint of you pushing content to your Google Plus page and Google using that to better your search rankings. So because the consumers haven't necessarily flocked to Google Plus in droves, we'll see Google Plus say, push content out on your Google Plus page as a business. We'll use that content.
We'll build it into the search.
We'll build it into
That's
the
what
search.
they've always planned with it. I
Yep.
always thought that they built that out so
Yep.
that they could get search queries and
Right.
get information so they could build into
Right.
their search engine.
So-
But let's face it, Google has always, and I'm part of that.
Yeah, you're the Google guy, I know.
You know that, but I'm honest, and I
Yeah.
tell you that when they started and launched Google Plus and created the Plus page, everybody went over there and had a business and built a lookalike business page.
Yep.
Even though they had that Google Places page. Well,
Right.
then Google makes and calls this Google My Business.
Right.
Then you got all these duplicate pages. You've got two businesses on there. And anytime you create a new Gmail, they want you to create a G Plus page.
Yep.
And so we know that the guy that started all this resigned from
Yep.
Google,
Yep.
and they're technical. So
Yep.
they're an ad company is a search engine, right?
Right.
And so we need to realize that they're all techies.
Yeah.
They're developing queries for search and
Yep.
and their job is to make money. So
Right.
it's all about
Sure.
advertising for
Sure.
them.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
right.
agree with you. And I think that the businesses are doing a good job of posting on there. And I do see from
Mhm.
clients over a broad spectrum, if they're posting
Mhm.
and they're staying relevant with content,
Yep.
they do get some pretty good rankings in
Yep.
their thumbnail picture and
That's
maybe their
great.
blog if they have
Yeah.
Blogger and they're tied it
Yep.
in. But
We're seeing it.
they are at a
Our-
crossroads with where they need to decide
Yep.
what they're going to do with this and how, because
Yep.
they've already tied YouTube to it, they've already
Right.
tied their Blogger to it, their
Right.
Drive.
Yep.
So they
Yep.
need to.
It'll be interesting to see the next couple of years.
It's got to be less confusing for the consumers to come on and feel like they're in a social network too. I think it
Sure.
feels a little distant, right?
It does.
On Facebook, you got all this stuff
Yeah.
wrapped around you on a page, right? And you feel like you're involved. Well, in
Right.
Google, you got your stuff, and you'd have to go back to the home feed.
Yep.
You don't see stuff popping up on the
Yep.
side. All that has to be figured out.
Yep.
So Google,
Yep.
if you're listening,
Google.
we're telling you, and they already know. But yeah, what else? Let's
The
see.
longest staying power, I think, right now is Facebook.
Yeah.
And
Because they have a
they,
mass.
they
They
have
have a mass.
Instagram as well. So
Well, that's another
I think-
fast-growing one to me, and I think that Twitter going and building their own video platform
Yep.
is going to be a plus for them.
right.
The only thing I wish that Facebook and Twitter would do is they really need, in my opinion, it's
Mm-hmm.
one. I'm not really pleased on Facebook with the videos I'm seeing that are just automatic and they're junk. You know, they're sensational headlines. They're just trying to get views. I guarantee it. And they're
Yep.
counting an automatic as a view. But
Yep.
be really nice, Facebook, Twitter, if you guys gave us a second platform like a YouTube where you
Mhm.
can copy that, go look at it. It'd be nice if
Right.
you actually had a channel page so that you could draw people to the like
that
my
would be
business page,
interesting.
personal
Right.
page, have an
Sure.
upload page.
Sure.
So you can manage it and share it.
Yep.
And if you want to charge for it, that's
Right.
fine. If it's a business,
Right.
if it's personal, don't worry about it. But if it's a business
No.
channel,
That would be interesting to have. Yeah.
I'm just thinking,
Yeah.
if you're used to doing that, it's
Yep.
like you upload a video and it goes out of sight within a
Right.
day.
And
You have to go
you gotta
repost
promote
it,
it.
so you might as well have something.
which
But
we
anyhow,
do.
So I don't know. Twitter to me is a kind of a I third party curate a lot of material on there for
Right.
business, right?
Sure.
How do you use it for No Time for Social? How do you use Twitter for your clients? Does it just depend on their target market?
It depends on their target market. So we'll look at we're in the unique position that my prior life I provided weather data for roofing companies. So
That's cool.
Yeah, we're lucky enough that we work with several really good roofing companies that are hail damage experts. So Twitter for us is event driven. We will, if a storm hits an area, people are tweeting about their house getting hit by hail or their car getting hit by hail. We
Yeah,
know
you know
that
that-
demographic
Right.
has been affected by hail, and we can push out a promoted tweet, or we can retweet that content or go in and reply to tweets.
Right.
With
And maybe create a hashtag on that one to get it followed, and so it draws them back in. And I guess that keyword thing you're talking about
the
comes
keyword
in,
searches
drives them right back too.
So it really depends on the client. It depends on what we're touching on. I was going to mention the other one that I think has staying power, and we haven't talked about it, and we've stayed away from it for right now just because we're not sure exactly how to manage it for companies, is Pinterest.
Yeah, it's kind of
my wife lives on that. My neighbor, my mom lives on it. It's Pinterest. So
they're
starting to do promoted pins where you can pay.
Yep, and they've got that business side to it that's kind of confusing. You know, where you set up a store.
It is.
And you could create a video board. At least, you know, I'm talking from my niche, and that is post some videos there. But I haven't really seen how to draw it back into what I'm trying to promote for the full target market. But I like it. I have like 20 boards, but I'm not there all the time.
Right.
It's not. Now, what about, I'll tell you who I think's gotten off steroids, and that's LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn's become more than a steroid directory. I see the group thing. I see the blogging. I see the opportunity to go premium. They're giving people a chance to be more social or interactive on LinkedIn. I think that's becoming a staying power.
I do enjoy LinkedIn.
Because the research clients.
It is. It is a great place.
It's a minefield. Look for clients on LinkedIn. I'm serious.
And potential employees, because I had the opportunity to ad retail, and they have an interesting ad platform for posting jobs. They charge you based on the city that you're posting the job in. And I had done one of these about a year and a half ago for a client, and he didn't get out of it what he thought he was going to get out of it. So I was hesitant in the Austin area. We're in the process right now of hiring a digital content strategist.
Right.
I was hesitant to post it, but for $300, I was able to post an ad for an opening I have, and we got 46 applications, and we've gotten some great interviews.
And I'll bet you probably got some good people off that, because a lot of professionals are on there.
Yep. So LinkedIn, I think, is definitely up and coming from a content standpoint. I usually try to spend a little time on it as I'm watching some of my DVR shows and fast forwarding through the commercials that people are still paying for.
Sure. No kidding.
I'll spend some time on LinkedIn on my phone. And a funny little thing that came up that I just thought about, talking about fast forwarding through commercials. There was an article out about probably 5 or 6 months ago, when I posted it on the No Time for Social page and on my personal page, that Target was asked if they had a chance to turn off television advertising or Facebook advertising, which would they turn off?
Ooh.
And they said they would turn off television advertising.
There you go.
So
that's pretty incredible.
It's pretty.
That's a hard call, by the way, because you could use TV to drive Facebook, but you can't use Facebook to drive TV. So I'd be really careful about that answer. But at least they're thinking. But they understand their marketing better than anybody. They know where they know people on the cell phones looking for products, right? Buy it and move on. So that makes sense.
Yep.
You can't use your cell phone to get on TV.
Yep. Well, and the whole cell phone revolution right now, with the beacons now showing up in stores, and the ability to push out when you're in an aisle, buy this and get.
Or suggest this product to your friends right from the store floor on your Facebook, and so that's the incredible part.
I think that's why they're looking more at digital and saying, we're going to spend how many millions on television advertising.
Right.
It's got to be more than half of those are getting fast forwarded through on DVRs. I would say it'd be more than that.
Well, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, so Walmart, Target, or somebody like that decides to launch a new product, so they put out a little text to their database, says, "Come join us at the store. Shoot this on your phone. Get one for free." And then shoot it and share it out to all your friends. Boom, you got an instant hit.
Immediately.
Instant. And all from within a second
$1 million
of click.
Less than it costs.
And you've got it spreading out all over.
You've got people
just creativity is 90% of this business today. It really is.
It absolutely is. And so we'll see how television advertising goes as well over the next 10 years. It's gonna change.
Well, I've noticed on the TV ads that KFC was probably the first to look like it. Farmers was the first to copy the 15-second ad, but KFC was the first one to come on and look like a YouTube video on where it stopped and then flipped over real quick to another transition to give it more of that feel of the So they are kind of what I say, looking at the popularity of how people don't want to see a commercial, they want to see a story, or they want to see something fun. And so they make it look like that. So there's some interesting
things are happening.
I agree.
It's a fun business to be in.
I think so, or crazy business to be in. I put the finger in my head every day like on Blazing Saddles. Back up or I'm going to shoot myself. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So, this is probably a toughie because there's probably a bunch of ways to do this. But what is the best ways for people to stay engaged with their people that are on their social sites, whether that be customers, clients, friends, whatever?
I think it's you've got a bunch of different ways to stay in contact with your customers, and the biggest thing that you need to do is have the passion to want to do it. So you've got the ability to curate email addresses. Do you have the ability and the time to send out a biweekly email blast?
Or write a blog.
And most people will do it for a little while, and then
they get burned out.
They get tired.
And explain, and this is one that I think is pretty hot right now, and you probably agree, and I'm sure you follow it. You've got some software to follow what's going on within your social sites, right? Sure. And by the way, I want to mention this is Bill with No Time for Social. Go check out notimeforsocial.com. You've got to go look at the site. He's the owner operator, cool guy in Round Rock, Texas, and they manage you've got a bunch of companies right now you're managing.
Yeah, we've had upwards of 25. We're at 21 right now.
And that's a monthly ongoing deal where you guys are keeping up with everything for them. You're reporting back to them and all that.
Yeah.
So what about curated material? Curated, because if you share a curated article, you get credit for it by sharing it.
Right.
People don't realize that it helps them.
Yep.
Right. Especially if it supports your model.
Sure.
Right.
And as a business, that's one of the things that I think businesses are probably not doing a really good job of is taking their business and saying, okay, what other places and communities do we support? You've got your personal Facebook page, and you go in and you like businesses. So let's say you like Target, you like Rudy's Barbecue in Round Rock, you like all these other businesses. Well, as a business, I don't think a lot of businesses know this, but when they go in and they change their settings to manage their page as the business, they can also go in as the business and like various things.
Exactly.
Comment as the business.
Right.
So I think that's a really, really good piece of information for people to have, is that if you're a business and you're on Facebook, you need to go in and like, comment, and share other businesses or other things that you're passionate about. Let's say it's United Way, commenting on United Way. What happens when you comment as a business? Or let's say you make a donation to United Way, or they have a particular campaign and you put a comment on there, we just donated $10 as your company. Other consumers are going to see that, and they may click on that link and go, well, I wonder what this company is. They're great. They just donated $100.
It brings in the traffic. It brings in
the traffic. And all of that again goes back to, it takes time to make that happen.
And you need to look at your settings, and you need to make sure they're set up right, so you're maximizing your posting and your sharing. I know that I would probably say in my 100% pile, right? I try to narrow down my caretakers that I know that are influencers within my group. I try to keep that in the 10% level. When I see somebody starting to like my stuff really quickly, I make sure I go back and 1+ them on Google Plus or say something. I think we've done that some, and I'm doing that with, I add people as we go, and I say, okay, if these people are going to influence me and help me, I'm going to be right there with them, helping collaborate with them, because these people can really influence the networks we're in.
Absolutely.
Just saying hi or liking or is great, right? Because then they go look for you. Who's that guy? It's amazing how many click-throughs you do on comments to see what that person is you didn't know before, what that business is. Cool.
And all of that builds over time. It is a marathon. That's one of the key things is once you get into it and you decide that you're gonna take your business and go out and become a social organization, you got to know that it's going to take time to build your followers, your likes, people engaging with you, and it may take, I've read an article, and I'll paraphrase here, but it takes a year to really go from nothing to I'm a fully social organization that's making things happen with my community.
I completely agree. I can honestly tell you the customers that I've done this with from day one, where they needed the ground floor built and they went up, it took about a year and a half, and all of a sudden the curve started going up. There is a really tipping point there, but I tell my clients, you probably do tell them too, I say, look, you're going to feel like you're in absolutely quicksand for about 6 months. You're going to be over your head. Information's not going to make sense. Just be prepared for the chaos. But understand that's part of this process. So you're going to feel like you're trudging along, and then there's going to be a point where you're going to go, wow, I'm starting to see some cool things happen. And then it gets to the point where you become management. And that's where you come in, and that's the beauty of what you do. I was telling somebody the other day, I have several clients that are at a point where they need that next level of management, not just posting, not just adding pictures, not just adding videos. They need to get set up where they see everything that's being posted about their company. They need to have somebody react to it.
Advertising.
Especially if they're a service company and reputation management, right? They need a response instantly to either a complaint or even a nice thing.
Agreed.
And that's part of today. So how do you measure this stuff, man? Because you know what? That's always been the bugaboo on is the return on investment or the return on time. That's another one for me. The ROT. Right. How do we, and I've struggled with this, how do we measure this?
I think a lot of companies that even manage social, like No Time for Social, we're still evolving on not only the reporting side of things, which we can pull a ton of data out of Facebook on reporting. But really fully quantifying, you're spending X amount of dollars and you're getting X amount of dollars back. And everybody that puts $1 in wants to get 2 back, or more if they can. So, we look at various things, and it depends on the client.
And I would say that I always try to remind my clients that and I laugh at them when I say this. I go, you know what? You love that instant gratification, right? We're going to have some leeway on ROI or return on time, but remember, in traditional days, you had no engagements. You got broad readings from Nielsen. You got X amount of people listen to the radio show. X amount of people get the paper. There was no measurement standard. So at least today, there's the ability, even if you went in manually to your Facebook page and counted how many likes you got in January on certain posts, and see which ones ranked the best, and use the post the ones, pay for the ones to get out there, and then see how they come back in. I mean, there are ways to do it. Analytics is getting more sophisticated. They're getting more stuff in there for us to look at. Best time of day to post. When are people looking at when's the time they're on the cell phone the most? I mean, that's the work part.
And if you can, as a business, if you can gather more customers through likes and determine what I call the customer lifetime value, what is that customer worth to you if they connect to you and they stay connected to you
and they read your stuff and they do business with you?
And it all depends on the company, but if it's a restaurant, if they continue to come back to your restaurant and they're passionate about your restaurant, and we manage social for restaurants, we see people commenting all the time about how great the food is, can't wait to get in, coming in on Saturday, this is great. Sometimes we run ads only for like a 2-hour time frame in the morning to promote a breakfast special.
There's certain times to send your blog out that are the best days. Not Monday, because everybody's coming to work. Probably Thursday, when maybe the day for the holiday. There's time-wise, so you need to know this stuff. And this is what you do. This is what I do somewhat of in a different niche. Okay, so we're bumping in top of the hour.
All righty.
It's quick.
It did go quick.
This is Bill from No Time for Social websites.
Wow. NoTimeForSocial.com.
They're in Round Rock, but go check out their website. And if you are a company that is even considered small, medium-sized business, and you're even considered, they've got a couple of cool plans they can work with you on, but they will meet with you, sit down with you, and help you decide what direction you want to go. And that's the beauty of what you do.
Yeah, we even have a proprietary product. It's a product slash service that we will produce for companies called the Social Score, and we've developed a model that
Not
looks at.
cloud. Oh, come
It's
on,
not
man.
cloud.
Come on,
It's
man. No,
not.
I'm kidding.
I'm
Oh,
on
that's
cloud,
one I
but
think's going to go away. Okay, there you
yeah,
go.
there
There.
you go.
Okay, go ahead.
That
You got
actually
your
might
own
be one.
scoring
Got our own
platform.
scoring system that we look at, Google Plus, Twitter, Facebook, just really look at content, graphics, posts, everything that's going on. We produce a score 0 to 100. 100, you're doing great. 0, you need some help. And from there, we just look at your company as a whole. Do you have a marketing budget? It's tough to work with companies that have 0 marketing budget.
Well, you can't.
But
Yeah, they just need what I think I heard this from an advertiser one time say, look, figure out what you're already spending on advertising.
Yep.
And then carve out the piece that's going to take to get that started.
Yep.
And get
Yep.
over your emotional tie to something you can't get a return on investment
Right.
from, and put it toward getting
let's move it
what's
over to
moving
social.
and what can get done. And that's kind of how I approach my clients is
Yep.
cut something out. Don't add to it.
Right.
But if you
Sure.
have no marketing budget,
Right.
then you're going to have to learn the real
Yeah.
hard way.
Right.
Just get on it, get going.
Yeah.
And
have
that's
to
your
build it
case.
to the
That's the
point that
beauty
you
of
can.
social networking, though. As I tell people, if you don't have the budget, you can get started. There's
can do
plenty
it.
of cool tools. You just got to work
There's
hard,
tools, there's
build your
resources.
business, and then
Sure.
come back and hire somebody to
Sure.
take that over. There
Yep.
is a place to start with this.
Yep.
So what is your, and I want to wind down here. We got 2 minutes. What is your typical way that you meet with a company? Do you go in and consult with them for an hour, sit down with them? Do they invite you? Do you prospect them? Or
Either way, I mean, we will go to businesses. We
Sure.
also have businesses come into our office, and we'll sit down with them and look at their social networks. We'll kind of provide information about what we do, how we do it, provide references to clients that we're currently
Awesome.
doing work with, show them the difference between a client we're working with versus maybe one of their
Yep.
competitors. And really, I mean, my goal is to just make whoever we're working with a much better in the social media realm. And I'm all about keeping customers for life, just like every single business is that we're working with. They want people to do business with them for the long
Yeah,
term.
you want to have them long term and not just a quick pop and
Yep.
they're out and down the road. My
Yep.
relationships are the same way. These are customers I'm going to be adding stuff to and being with, and I
Sure.
want to make sure they're happy and make sure they're taken care of.
Yep.
And I see that in you. I also know from being around you and being in your office a couple of times, the way you monitor. We're not going to get into that. That's your stuff.
Yep.
But I will tell you that they have a very sophisticated way. And I know darn well Bill's got me in that system because as soon as I post something, there's a like or there's a hit on it, and I go, darn it, he's monitoring. And that's good. I appreciate that. But I know I can always tell when I've got somebody monitoring.
Yep.
It's very easy
Yeah.
to see. But occasionally somebody doesn't,
Right.
you don't see it,
Sure,
right?
sure.
So that's cool. Hey, I want to thank you for being here. I hope you
Thank
enjoyed
for
this.
inviting
Kind
me.
of cool.
It was really fun. I want to do it again at some point.
Well, we will. I
Fit
mean,
me
we're
in.
gonna.
Summertime
I
or-
want to bring in. Maybe we can bring in a couple months. We've got the Thursday night show, which I'm going to
Great.
call the Coaches Corner. That's coming up
Okay.
next month, and I'm going to be
Great.
inviting on all sorts of coaches. And I
Okay.
thought maybe one of the things we could do on this show was get into a specific tool that a company could use, help them
Sure.
with some tips.
Oh, yeah,
not get
yeah.
into the webcasting
Right.
and the screenshots and the infographics. Just
Yeah.
here's what you should think about doing, and
That's
if you
a
need
great
help,
idea.
call us.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
We'll
'cause
go.
We
We'll
do
take
have
it
a
from here.
couple that we can suggest.
Then I'd like to do that. Well, listen, we've been talking to Bill. No Time for Social. Go check out the website. No Time for Social. Greatest freaking name for a website I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I thought Hurdy Burke was good because my name's unique,
Yeah.
but No Time for Social just kicks it. I mean, when I first
Thank
saw
you.
that, I went, "What do you mean you have no time for social?" Then I realized, no, that's the name of the company.
I know. We do get a lot of compliments.
Oh, I'm
on
sure
it.
you do.
I'm pretty proud of it, although I try to be humble.
Well, yeah, it's great.
Just lucky, I guess.
Well, guys, for those of you listening, I thank you for being on the broadcast. And like I said, this is an archive show. 90% of the traffic comes off the on-demand, so people can listen to it on their cell phone. They can listen to it in their car, I've got it set up on FeedBurner. I've got it set up through the RSS feed on Vubex. It's
Wonderful.
on it's on Facebook group. It's on YouTube.
I need some help learning about all those.
Well,
things.
that's fine. And I, like I said, me and you are pretty much connected at the hip
Yeah,
on where we
sure.
think we can do some stuff together, and we're going to help each other a lot. And that's the beauty of this. What I have found from meeting Bill is I found a very natural collaboration partner for where I wanted to go with some stuff that I
Sure.
just can't go too far with the client
Right.
beyond my niche.
Yep.
I could, but it would take away from what I do best.
Right.
And you have to realize that, don't get down that road and realize there's a barricade at the end, right?
Mhm.
So we'll discuss more of this when we get back on the air next time. But you
Great.
guys listening, thank you very much. Have a great evening. You've been listening to the Hurdyburg Broadcast Network, and we are gone till next Tuesday night, 7 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here. Check us out on YouTube. Good night, everybody.
Good night.